Welcome to Advent of Cyber 2025 Day 1. Today, the mission to save Christmas begins on Linux command line. Mark Skiddy, chief defender, is gone, and our critical server has been compromised by the nefarious king. Your first objective is to unravel the initial clues Mark Skiddy left behind using Linux CLI. You will navigate the file system, read secret logs, and uncover the attacker's shell script. You will master essential commands that are the bread and butter of every cybersecurity professional. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, welcome back to the task section. Here, basically, we have two tasks. The first one is introduction to the lab environment, and the second one is the Linux CLI. So what we're going to do is to assess task one, and here we have the scenario for the lab, including the learning objective. So one of the learning objective is to learn the basics of Linux command line CLI interface. Secondly, we want to explore its use for personal objective and IT administration. And lastly, we want to apply our knowledge to unveil the Christmas misery. And we have information on connecting to the machine here. So we have this big button here to kickstart our machine. And this is going to take approximately 1 minute to launch this particular machine. So while that is coming up, I'm just going to click on check, and then we move to the next section for the lab. Now, this is going to open in a split screen. You can as well use this, or we can decide to use our own VPN service. So if you're going to use VPN service, you might have gone to the tryhackme.com/access page and download your open configuration file. So to connect, what you just have to do is, let's just close this previous terminals, and I'm going to open a new one. So what I'm going to do is to change directory to documents, and then I'm going to move into THM, and I think I do have our configuration file here. So that is going to be sudo openvpn. The name of my configuration file is this, and this should be able to connect us to the TryHackMe machine via the VPN. So since we have successfully connected to this VPN file, what I'm going to do is to head over to our lab. You can see that we are all set up even on the StartBox machine. So moving into the box, we have our target IP address right here, and the first section is working with the CLI. So we're just going to move directly into the machine, and we have, I think on the introduction page, we have the credentials to connect remotely using SSH to this bus we just pinned up. We have the username to be Mark Skiddy, we have the password to be AoC 2025, and we have our host to be 1067.154.143. So what I'm going to do is just grab this particular SSH command, and let's open a new terminal, and let's go to that same directory. So we're going to try to connect to that, and then let's grab our credential, which is the password. That is taking a while. Let's confirm. Okay, so I think there's issue. We are unable to connect to this. So let's just move back to the attack box. Let's say IPA. Okay, great. So if we go to the second task, which is familiarizing ourselves with the Linux CLI, the very first thing we want to do is to list the different directory in our current working directory. You can as well launch this in a new tab so that we can have a full view. So we have a folder called guide, and we have a text file here called readme.txt. So what we want to do is learn how we can read text file on Linux. And to do that, it's actually very simple. We can use the cat, then readme, which is the file name .txt with the file extension. And this is going to show us the full content of the readme.txt file. Now, the content says, for all TBFC members, yesterday I spotted yet another exploit on our servers. Not sure what it means yet, but Warville is in danger. To be prepared, I will write the security guide by tomorrow as a precaution. I will also hide the guide from plain view. So this is giving us some hints that probably what we're looking for is going to be hidden on the terminal. Now what we can do is to move to the guide directory that we have. So let's change directory, which is cd. Then we're going to specify the name of the directory. So you have to make sure that you type it the exact way the directory name is spelled, because Linux is case sensitive. Now we might try to look at what we have. Looks like the folder is empty. What else we can do is to supply an additional tag to list the different hidden files. And what we can see here is that we have another file which is prepended with a full stop with the name guide.txt. So meaning that this file is actually hidden. So to access the content, all we have to do is cat and let's take a look at the kind of content that we have here. So you can see them. We have alternatives.log, we have auth.log, which saves authentications. We have some other directory as well, like corps, Amazon. We have HP journal and other log files and directories that we have here. So let's move away a bit here, which we've done all this. If you go to the grepping the log, so it says in our guide, maxkd refers to /var/log, a Linux directory where all security event logs are stored. Indeed, every SOC analyst at TBFC will confirm that the best way to find evil bunnies is to check the logs. Log files are usually very big, and looking through them with cat is not ideal. So instead, we can use a new tool called grep to filter the log in search of a specific term. Now, before we continue here, let's try to answer the first question here. So the first one says, which CLI command did you use to list a directory? Of course, you remember we used the ls to list the different files and directory in our current working directory. And secondly, I think we got this when we access the first file. Can I scroll up a bit? Didn't see that. Okay, I don't think we read the content of the egg. Okay, so let's try to fix that before we proceed. So I might have to move away from here to my home directory. And from the home directory, let's try to access the readme.txt. Okay, so I think this is just the information we have here. So nothing much. Okay, good. So let's go back to the guide. I think the name guide, and let's see what is the content. Okay, so we had to use the LA, and then we had to view the content just to be sure. Okay, yeah, so that was the first flag we have here, and you can see it in here. So this next thing is, which command helped you to filter through the log, which is the next action we want to take now. So we're going to move into the var/log, and then we want to filter based on what we have here. Let's see, based on the word failed password from the log file. So we can view the, sorry about that, we can say grep, and then we can check for failed password. Or if you want to make this more functional, you can decide to add the tag I to ignore the case characters. So now the next thing we want to do is to specify the, okay, it says auth.log, but we might decide that, okay, let's assume we don't know the name of the log file. So dot is just going to search through the entire structure of our current working directory. So let's see, okay, grep is not taking this. So I think there's a way, I'm not really sure. Let's say Gemini. Okay, then we have to use R. I think I remember now. So we're going to bring the last command. We're going to use recursively. Then we're going to specify dot here. I think this should work. Yeah, great. So this is searching recursively. Let me just reduce the size so that we can see what we have. Okay, great. I think that was too much. Yeah. So you can see that most of the failed password search result comes from the auth.logs, and this is targeting different users. For example, let's scroll up to the extreme top of the log result. Scroll down. So these are the failed one because we don't have permission to access those files. Now it started from the SOCMAX account, and this person is probably trying to brute force the SSH service with maybe this particular domain. This is coming from the OPSEC domain, and the services is SSH2. We also have other things like other users, like an invalid user. Like most of these ones are invalid user. Let's see other results. Even from root, failed password for root from this particular IP over the SSH as well. So one thing we can do is to confirm if we actually have the SOCMAX account, and what we can do is to cat /etc/password, and we can see the name of the different accounts we have. So we actually have MaxKiddy, which is what we are logged in as. We have Edinab, and we have SOCMAX account, which the attacker was trying to brute force. So let's head back to the challenge. So the next thing is finding the files. Now, on the process of finding our file, I'm going to introduce you to a new tool called Find, which can also be used to find files on our Linux file structure. And this file command is kind of extensive because it has multiple flags which you can pass along with it, like the name, the file, the type, different kind of files. You can even filter file by size and all those complicated stuff. But we're going to just use it in a very simple manner. And what we are doing is to look for file names that either start with egg or that has the word egg within the name. So to do this, what we're going to do is run the command find. We can run this from the root directory, which is slash, and we want to specify the name to be asterisk egg. And then we want to specify that what we are looking for is of the type file. And in case of any error, instead of showing error, we want to redirect the error to /dev/null. So let's see what we have. I think I need to pick up that command again. Let's see the name again. So the name actually passed the egg. Okay, yeah, the part is the issue. So I might need to stop this. Okay, so let's run that again. Let's find /home, since it was sockmarks directory that was being brute force. So /home/sockmarks. So let's do it this way. Then we can now specify the name to be asterisk egg, and then we can specify type to be F, and then 2 greater than /dev/null. So yeah, that should give us the file we're looking for. And this is the full path to the file. We can change directory to the path, or we can access it directly. So let's just change directory to that path. I'm going to paste it in here. And then let's take a look at what is there. Let's see if there are other hidden files as well. Not really. So we have wishlist. We have secretserver.js. So you can try to access all these files, and including the index.html. But what we're interested in is the xstrike.sh. So let's view the content. And this happens to be the content, xstrike version 0.3. And this is the activity this particular shell script is performing. First, it is viewing the content of wishlist.txt, which is what we have here. Then it's going to pipe it and sort the content of the wishlist.txt. It's going to find the unique part of this file content, and then it's going to redirect it to a directory called /temp/dump.txt. Then it's going to remove wishlist.txt, and then it's going to echo the word Christmas is fading. Then lastly, it's going to move eastmas.txt to this, more of like renaming, and it's going to echo Eastmas is invading. And we have a flag here, but I don't think this is relevant to the lab currently. So what we're going to do is to just move ahead, because we've actually explored all that. Now, the next point of action is to check what is required of us. Here it says, which command would you run to switch to root user? But before that, let's answer this one. So it says, which command helped you filter the logs for failed logins? So of course we use the grep. Okay, that was correct. Which command would you run to switch to root user? So the next thing we want to do now is to switch our account to root user. And to do that, let's just clear the screen. And we can use sudo su. And this is going to switch our current account. Previously, we were on Maxkidi's account, and now we automatically switch to root user. So we can grab that command, which is going to be the answer for that question. copy, and we're going to paste it in here. We're going to check. That was correct. So finally, what flag did caret bin leave in the root bash history? So all we have to do is to view the history file, and you can see the content of the command that are being run by the root account, and we have our final flag here. So I'm going to paste that in here, and I'm going to check. We're going to check, and we're going to check. All right, so guys, that will be all in this video. If you've learned one or two things from this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.